Good morning, everyone. My name is Malibu Raditladi. I'm the president of Botswana Netball Association, and I'm also with the Norwegian Olympic Committee. We've been doing this safeguarding since 2014, and that's what we have been doing. I'm glad that Julie has covered on the governance on the side of the office, and what we are doing is now on the governance of how as we are here hosting. We focus on the hosting as through the Norwegian Olympic Committee. And the objectives, why the safe sport? The safe sport has, we have found that there's a problem when we are doing this hosting of games. She mentioned the harassment, the bullying and everything. Everything happens during the games. That's why we have now decided to say, everybody is doing it. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. We are going to see how we can assist the sports associations or the government or the leaders of sport in each and every country on how to assist to make sure that the games are safe. And why we are doing the safeguarding participation in sports is because there's a lot of abuse that's happening during the games. We have noted that during the games, the volunteers are abused, the athletes are abused emotionally and otherwise, and nobody has the confidence to speak out, and they later on talk while they are now at a later stage in their life when things are happening or are going wrong. That's when they start talking to, when I was 9 years old, this and this happened to me when we were at the games, and this happened to me, my coach did this, and that's what we are getting and trying to make people aware during the games to say, and also to educate the youth regarding their participation in sport. And sport environment has happened worldwide. The Football Association has covered it. The association on, we have the problem with the match fixing. This is a major one that is happening in football. We have one of our team on the safe sports side from Zambia who was caught with the match fixing. So what we do, we go around and educate people on the danger of match fixing and how it happens. You don't plan it, you just happen to wake up and you are a match fixer. And then there's also on there's a USA gymnastics on sexual abuse. That those are the things that you can find on the website of different organizations. The Canada Hockey Sexual Abuse Harassment on Physical Abuse, where now it's not only about the harassment, the emotional and also the physical abuse, where athletes and volunteers are abused physically. And then we had a research-based evidence that was done in Zambia or in the Southern Africa, indicating that 38% of the girls and women participation in sports are sexually abused. And also over 80% of athletes indicated that they have experienced bullying. And all those, we have noted that it happened when we have this pressure of winning the gold medal, where that's where everything happens. And then what are we doing to prevent the situation from the Norwegian side? We had, now as we are here for netball, INF took the decision and had this, to have that policy in place. And you are lucky as one of the codes that have this in place. And then how many of us are reading it? How many of us are taking it to also implement it in our own countries? We just leave them and there's no implementation. We have this all in place, but we are not doing it. At the World Cup in Botswana, I'm glad to say my president of the Africa president, who is also from my country, took the decision to make this as a legacy for the games during the youth cup that was held in Botswana. And we had a team of the safeguarding team that was looking after the children during the games. And how we did that, what we do when we get to the games, we know that we have volunteers. She talked about the recruitment. How you recruit the volunteers is very important, because there's when the abusers or harassers of young people come in to volunteer because they want to get closer to the participants. So we need to ensure that when we have games like this, we do thorough forensic check on each and every person. It doesn't matter that you have known this person for this long. but you need to have that clarity and make sure that the police are involved in the forensic check to ensure that if anything happens, everybody is cleared, including the LOC. We are not exempting anybody. Everybody is rechecked to ensure that everybody will be safe during the games. And then also we had the team that was formed. What we have decided to do was to include, to make a team. Botswana has been, why it's been happening all the time in Botswana from on the Africa side is because Botswana has now turned out to be the hub for hosting. Like yesterday, they started with the Karate Africa Championships. So we have that team in place that's got the police, the child protection unit, the psychologists, the medical, and also the anti-doping. Why we are doing that is because there are procedures that need to be followed during those games. During the games, when a child is abused, a volunteer is abused in somehow, or an administrator feel that they have something that they're not happy about, they have a team that they can report to, and then the athletes also, like all what we are here, we are all here. We believe that we are more important to the athletes, but when we sit with the athletes, they will tell you that I don't want to see Malibu with my eyes next to me. And then you, or as an individual, you feel that you are the most important person next to that athlete. So during the games, we have that team of psychologists. When they cannot, or when they are unable to speak to your own team psychologist, then we have somebody that they can relieve their stress to. And then again, during the games, we give them a lot of pressure. We determine the win while we are here. We already have the winner. We already know that Botswana is going to take this World Cup. I wish one day. So, and then we put a lot of pressure on the athletes, and then at the ultimate end, they end up having this emotional stress to win. And what happened, I'll give an example, what happened in 2014 when we started with the safeguarding. There was an athlete from one other country that the country expected a gold medal. And unfortunately, she was a boxer. And then the child was knocked out in the first round. And you know what happened? The coach was not happy at all. The words that they said to the athletes and how they emotionally and even shook her because you have lost the country medal. And that athlete disappeared for 3 days. We looked for her for about 3 days. We couldn't find her. And then after 3 days, we found her under the bed. She didn't eat or drink anything in the 3 days. She just wanted to die because she missed the medal for the country. So I've already covered on where the organization and what we do and how we try to do it. But all in all, it goes back to what Julie said, to say, what do we do with the right recruiting of officers in our offices, the right recruiting of athletes, the right, not athletes, the volunteers, and then how you govern your sport is what is important. And about a month ago, we were invited by the South African Sports Association, SASCOC, where we had this kind of presentation, and we had also a speaker from the British Council who was, I think he came with Claire, and they were doing she was presenting on how it's painful as the CEO to wake up in the morning and then you hear that your athletes are abused, but you are not aware. So we are making that awareness and making that we do. And I'm glad to say our relationship with the UK Sport, Claire, and all the other international organizations and the IOC, we are working together to make ensure that we achieve this mission. And then what we have done, and this is what we have done, we have educated over 10,000 athletes and on educating them on the importance of governance, and then also on the importance of reporting. And then during the games like this, we do the training of volunteers. No volunteer will come close to an athlete or the officials without being trained. We train even the security because they are the eyes of the LOC. We trained everybody around that athletes, around that event, because they become the eyes of the LOC. And after the events, we do the the wrap-up of the program. There are also procedures of reporting. She mentioned something about the newspapers. Everybody, when things happen, they run to the newspapers. And then you find that that's the worst thing that you can ever do for your organization. Sometimes you are not good in good relation with Malibu, and then you want to expose Malibu. That's what we do as women. And what I want to say is, as women, we are our own killers, because we always compete against each other. We always try to show or outshine each other instead of trying to help to resolve the situations that are on the ground, that is about building a young child or developing a child in sport. And now I'm going to ask you, and on when you leave here, whatever the short, we had a short, very short presentations, but I commit you to say the INF has it, it's there on your website. Let's take it and make sure that we try to build the safety of our children. Let's not lose our athletes because of their abuse. And we have here we have the UK Sport, we have the IOC, we have everybody, and then we can be able to assist. Thank you.